Hello, mortals. I'm the booktube goddess, the number one drag queen booktuber on YouTube. And now it is time for another game of Shelve It or Shove It, the completely superficial way to pick books for my TBR based solely on their covers. So I am going to look at new releases in December to read in January, and I'm going to be looking at Goodreads. The categories I'm going to look at are young adult, science fiction, and fantasy. So, starting with young adult, The Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. I believe this is the fourth book in the Ember and Ashes series. And yes, I am going to have to shelve it because it's so embarrassing. I thought I had finished the entire series. I didn't realize there was another book out. So obviously I'm going to shelve this because I have liked the series. I have given it a good review. I have said that I read the entire series when of course I haven't because this book hasn't been out. So, and it's a pretty cover. I do like this cover. It has the two main characters, I forget their names, but the Romanesque hero who was trained by the Empire, and then the woman or young lady who is from the Conquered Lands. It's a graphic cover. I do like the character art. So anyway, this one is being shelved. Okay, next up is The Cousins by Kieran McManus. Family first always. This looks like a horror, doesn't it? There are portraits on the floor with their faces X'd out, or maybe a murder mystery. The name Kieran McManus is familiar to me. I'm not sure why. Author of One of Us is Lying, which I don't recognize that. Anyway, just going by the cover, I don't think this is really a novel I am drawn to, so I am going to shove it. Next up is Admission by Julie Buxton. There is a college sweatshirt that says admission, and underneath it says choice A, lie, B, cheat, C, bribe, D, all of the above, which is checked and underlined. So this is not really the type of novel I'm interested in. It reminds me of those TV shows like Pretty Little Liars, that type of thing. But I am going to have to go ahead and shove it. Next up is The Love Curse by Melody McIntyre by Robin Talley, another New York Times bestselling author. And it looks like a party. There's two girls with their arms around each other. Could be a lesbian story, contemporary, but I'm not interested, so I'm going to shove it. And finally, This Is How We Fly by Anna Mariano. Quidditch isn't just for wizards, so it's a Harry Potter. You know what this is, just looking at the cover? This is about a group of kids, I believe, that are playing Quidditch using broomsticks or sticks and balls, and it's not really a fantasy version of this. It's just like sort of the real life version of Quidditch players. I kind of feel sorry for this author because of what's going through with J.K. Rowling, and her opinions on trans is probably going to rub off on sales of this book. But even if it wasn't, I'm just not really interested in this novel, so I'm going to shove it. Now we move on to science fiction. First up, We Hear Voices by Evie Green. This kind of looks like a horror novel. There's flames, a lot of darkness, flames, and it looks like a child silhouetted in the front. Not really interested. I'm going to have to shove it. Next up is... What is this? Okay, this cover does not have the author's name on it. It has a bunch of mushrooms growing on it. And I think there's the letter A. So, I mean, I am kind of intrigued by this cover, but would I actually want to pick it up without knowing the author? Maybe I do. I don't know. Am I this brave? No. The cover isn't that intriguing to me. I mean, the mushrooms, psychedelics, I guess, unless it's like a day of a Triffid, which I doubt. But I think I'm going to shove it. Next up is Day 1, the sequel to Day 0. Boy, the author can go on as long as they want with this naming convention. Day 1, Day 2, Day 3. Anyway, it's by Kelly DeVos. I'm going to guess it's post-apocalyptic or disaster type novel, but it's a sequel. Haven't read the first novel. I'm going to shove it. Next up is Fleet Elements by Walter John Williams. And it looks like a space battle, a novel of the Praxis. I have a feeling this is part of a series. And don't recognize the author. It's a nice cover, but it looks kind of generic in terms of space battles. So I'm going to shove it. And last in science fiction is Orders of Battle by Marco Cluse. It's another generic space scene, but this looks like frigates, or I guess it could be military ships. Well, I guess with the name Orders of Battle. I'm going to have to go ahead and shove it. Not interested. And finally, we're up to fantasy. First up is The Blade Between by Sam Miller. And it looks like a shark. No, whale. A whale with tattoos. I don't know what's going on. It looks kind of depressing. I'm going to shove it. Next up is When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain by Ingvo. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. A remarkable accomplishment of another... Oh, wait a sec. Did I pick this novel? Gosh, this seems so familiar. Okay, it's not ringing a bell, but just based on the cover, it's kind of... The cover's not that pretty, but the title is kind of interesting. When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain. And I have a feeling it's a sequel. I'm just going to go ahead and shove it. Too many questions. Next up, King of the Rising by Kaysen Callender. Aha! This is a sequel to the Queen of something. Queen of the Serpents? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shelve this based on the fact that I read the first book, Queen of the Conquered, that was it. And I liked that book a lot, but it was a anti-hero novel, meaning the main character wasn't a very likable person. But this is about the hero of the story. So I'm curious about it. And I do like Kaysen Callender as a writer, so we're going to shelve it. Next up is Sean Gibson's The Part About the Dragon Was Mostly True. So I like the title. Tina Fey and Terry Pratchett. What? Oh, if Tina Fey and Terry Pratchett wrote a fantasy. So, okay, so... Gosh, so it's a humorous fantasy. The cover's kind of blah, but the title is cute. I don't know this author. I'm going to go ahead and shelve this anyway. It's gotten me curious. Next up is A Fool's Hope by Mike Shackle. Not all wars can be won. There is a golden mask and a hood. Is that hood or hair? I can't tell if the mask is framed by a hood or hair. Either way, it looks kind of creepy, but it's getting Man in the Iron Mask, maybe? I don't know. I'm just not that interested in this just based on the cover, so I am going to shove it. Okay, so we have shelved 3 books, one young adult, A Sky in the Storm by Saba Tahir, King of the Rising by Kaysen Callender, and The Part About the Dragon Was Mostly true. So, those are 3 books. Do I want to read 3 Shelved or Shelved this month? I think I'm only going to do 2. Yeah, I'm just going to do 2 this month. And it's got to be the 2 sequels that I've read the previous books for. Case and Calendar's King of the Rising, and the last book of The Ember and Ashes. So, you know what? I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to do all 3 books. I'm going to do the part about the dragon that's mostly true. Because the other 2 books really aren't a surprise. I know what to expect. That book, I don't know. That could be an interesting read or not. Okay, Sky Beyond the Storm. Prepare for the jaw-dropping finale. I'd like to hear that. To the best-selling series. Again, I thought this was a series that ended after 3, so my bad. I'm interested. So it says, Commandant Karis declares herself Empress. She's a really good villain. And it looks like we're going to get it more into the Jinn and all that. Very excited to read this book. Next up, King of the Rising, Book 2 of Islands of Blood and Storm. Hopefully this is just a duology. I was kind of hoping Queen of the Conquered was a standalone, because I liked that anti-hero story. But the revolution has swept the islands, and former slave Lauren Janik has been chosen to lead the survivors in a bid to free the islands forever. And if you don't know, this is a fantasy based on Caribbean slave owners, but the twist was there were some black people who were the slave owners. They owned black slaves. Fascinating first book. Interested to see how this concludes. And finally, the part about the dragon was mostly true. Heloise Bard, Book 1. So it's the first book of a series that appears. So you think you know the story of the fearsome red dragon Dragonia, how it terrorized the village of Skendrick until a brave band of heroes answered the noble villagers' call for aid. Okay, but even in the world filled with epic adventures and tales of daring do where dragons, goblins, and unlicensed prestidigitators run amok, legendary heroes don't always know what they're doing. Okay, so it is a humorous book. Heloise Bard, I guess, is the storyteller who's recounting the story. I bet it's first person from her point of view. Then it says, welcome to Arathea. I hope you brought a change of undergarments. Things are about to get messy. Ooh. Okay, so we'll see if this is a funny book or not. That's all I have. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. And comment and let me know down below which book you would have chosen just based on their cover. Until we meet again, may all the books you read be blessed.